So welcome back to episode 2 as we talk about Prayer Connect. And in these mentoring moment sections, we're focusing on prayer, and especially the kind of prayer that you might need to reset your day, or the kind of prayer that you might pray in the middle of the night when you can't go to sleep because you're trying to solve the world's problems. Really not talking about your devotional prayer time, really not talking about some kind of formalized prayer you might pray at church. I'm talking about headspace prayer that you might offer up when you're shooting an arrow saying, "Help me, God," and you're taking a few moments to pray. I pray these kind of prayers when I step out of my office sometime onto my patio. Or I pray these prayers sometimes when I'm in my car and after I left a frustrating meeting. And I have this little index prayer that I use. So the first one was welcome. I encourage you to welcome it was invite. So welcome the Holy Spirit, invite, and then thank. So those are the first two. Now we're going to pick up the next two. So the next one is, I'm going to invite you to feel. Now this may seem odd to you, but I want you to actually invite God to give you words for the feelings you have. I want you to become conscious of how you're feeling. And we don't often do this, or maybe I should say we don't do it enough. Like, we don't stop to ask ourselves, what is it I'm feeling today? Give it a name. Like, maybe I'm feeling sad. Maybe I'm feeling frustrated. Maybe I'm feeling challenged. Maybe I'm feeling excited. It can be all over the spectrum here. But I want to encourage you to actually put a word to that feeling. Or if you can't choose one, choose a couple that are in the range. So I might say something to God like this: God, I feel stressed. And tell him why. These things just happened, and here's the key. And now I'm going to give this stress to you. So you named it. You're going to claim it. This is what's happening at this moment. But now you're going to give it to God. And you're going to maybe think about it this way. So God, this just happened. I just had this stressful conversation. So I want to own my part of it. I could have done better, but now I'm going to bring this to you. I'm going to give it to you. And God, I'm going to ask that you would just enter this moment and that you would be able to give exactly what I need to me in this moment to be able to handle what I just experienced. So that's feeling. So what I'm encouraging you to do is express your feelings to God. Name them, claim them, and then give them to him. So feel. Once you've done that, then I'm going to encourage you as the next word. So I'm going to remind you just again. So invite, thank, feel, and now think. Think. And here's what I want you to think about. Think, where have I seen God at work? Where have I seen God at work? Look for the fingerprints of God in your day. Sometimes I think we go through our day so quickly, and by the time we get to the end, we're just tired and we're not thinking at all. But I want you to think. I've just asked you to feel and acknowledge your feelings. Now I'm going to ask you to think, where have I seen God at work? I like to think about it this way. Where are the fingerprints of God? When you see some kind of a murder show or something, one of these cop shows, and they're doing this dusting for fingerprints, and with a certain kind of dust, fingerprints light up, they're fluorescent sort of, and you can see where this person had their fingerprints. Maybe that helps you solve the crime. In this particular prayer, what I'm going to encourage you to do is ask yourself, where have I seen God's fingerprints? That if I didn't stop and think, I might actually miss them. But as you stop and think about the fingerprints of God, you might think, you know what? God was working in that situation. I didn't really notice, but that person probably wouldn't have said what they said unless somehow God had kind of cued them up. God was working behind the scenes. I didn't notice it. Or maybe I got this text, and as I read this text, I know that God must have been working in that person's life, because how could they have known I needed to be encouraged at this moment? And then I get this encouraging text. Or let's say that you're recruiting funds for your church, and you're talking to a particular donor, and when you talk to them, they get to yes really quickly, and you go, wow, God, thank you for whatever you did behind the scenes to kind of make that happen. I think there are things that happen to us all the time in our life. We just blow by them so fast that we don't maybe recognize God is at work. And the reason we should remember God's at work is because we're always asking Him for something new. So we're praying to God for something new. And now I'm having more faith for what I'm praying for because I've just reminded myself of 5 things God just did. I remembered to be thankful. I acknowledged I needed God's help. And now I took the time to look for God's fingerprints. And here's the final thought with that. When you see those fingerprints, then ask God if you can join Him in what He's already doing. Sometimes we're busy asking God to bless what we're doing, instead of saying to God, God, I want to do what you're blessing. So help me see your fingerprints, help me see where you're at work, and then help me join you, because I want to be about the things that you're about. I want to be about my Father's business. I want to give my life to doing the things that are going to make heaven come to earth and earth become more like heaven. I want to be able to fulfill the purposes of God in my life. So as I began to notice where God's working His fingerprints, I want to go work there too, so I can be a part of what God is doing. So let's review. Invite the Holy Spirit to fill you. Thank God for what He's already doing. That's the episode before this. Then on this episode, feel, acknowledge your feeling, own them, give them to God, and then think, where is God at work? And spend some time just consciously thinking about where are God's fingerprints all around you, and then make the commitment to join Him in what He's already doing.